Greetings, Macadine family. This is Camille Shabazz, live from the Macadine headquarters, here with the First Lady of Macadine, Monique Shabazz. Greetings and peace. Hoping that all of you and your families are doing well, because I'm just in the spirit of war and action at this moment. But what I would like to briefly discuss with you is where we're at as a people in America at this moment. Oh, excuse me. I don't have the rights to this music, so I'm about to turn it down. Excuse me. Pardon me. As I was saying, I would like to discuss the position that we are in right now as a people. We're really at a crossroads right now. A powerful crossroads where you have Negroes, black people, African Americans, etc., that are out here protesting and in a particular spirit that has the whole world opened up to us at this moment. This world is now willing to negotiate with us right now. But like I said, we're divided into all these different mental sets. You have Black Panthers, you have this group, the Moors, you have the Nation of Islam, you have churches, we have all of these diverse groups. But when it's all said and done, it's gonna go into two places. It's gonna be divided into two groups. Those who want to stay in America, stay linked up with this government, and become what you would refer to as stimulus package receivers. Those who want to still believe and have faith in this democracy. And then there's the other side that represents those who don't want no more government handouts, don't want any association or affiliation with this government. We want reparations and separation. We want the promised 40 acres and trucks that we supposed to get. We don't need no mules. We need trucks today. There's those of us who want punitive and compensatory compensation for 400 years of rape and the most brutal treatment that any people has ever received in the history of the planet Earth. So, and what comes with that, we want land, we want independence, and we want to establish our own. I don't even want to be a part of some new nation. I just want to invoke our sovereign powers that we all as individuals have. We have sovereign powers that the government knows about that we don't know how to get access to. So we're in this position as a taxpayer, a citizen, and all these different titles that they give people who are under their jurisdiction. When you vote, you're not voting in a candidate. The people don't have no power to vote in anybody whatsoever. If you go to any law book, Black's, or in this case, Webster's, it tells you in reference to who votes in the president. It says, it's talking about the electoral college and it's talking about the electors. It says the entire group of electors chosen in such an election by all 50 states and the District of Columbia combined. It is those 538 individuals who elect the president and the vice president in the United States. 538 individuals, part of an electoral college, vote in the president and the vice president. You and I don't care how many votes you put in, your vote doesn't make a difference. But the technology of the whole election process is to keep you and I in contracts with the U.S. government, which is actually not even a real government. If you do any research, Washington, D.C. is the only power that the U.S. government has power over the jurisdiction of, which is only 3.5 miles square. They don't have no jurisdiction over none of the country. But the people, by signing contracts through voting, keeps the people under the grip of this corporation. Tax-paying, you're in this machine that you're trapped in and don't even realize it. But all they're doing is establishing new contracts with you to rule you, and then they're using your votes. You think it's VOTES, but it's really VOLTS. Your power. They're taking your power from you and keeping you wallowing in this circle of ignorance and slavery. And when it comes to black people and white people and this government, we have this pimp and prostitute relationship, which the people in the domestic violence circle refers to as the cycle of violence. Every 2 or 3 months or every year or so, your pimp kills you in a very outrageous fashion, or disrespects you, or brutalizes you, and then you go crazy for a minute, but then it only lasts about a couple of months, like our marches. And then what happens is you get lulled back to sleep, and then you go back to your pimp. And then he reminds you again a few months later that you're nothing to him but his little personal prostitute. But we of the Macadine, matter of fact, I have a whole chapter 42, dedicated to sovereignty. Very interesting chapter that briefly goes into all the different aspects and ways to go about becoming a sovereign citizen. I actually have the Declaration and Certificate of Sovereign Status in the book, and I also have contracts on how to get out of the IRS contract so that they can stop taxing you and robbing us of our money. So, back to what I was talking about. We as black people are emancipated. We're an emancipated people. And we always misunderstand that whole concept. You look at emancipation thinking it means to be free, but it doesn't mean that, as I illustrated a couple of weeks ago. But I'm going to take it even deeper by going into the Webster's Dictionary, collegiate dictionary, where it tells you what emancipation is at its roots, which is even more powerful. It says it comes from the word emancipatus, which at its root, it means to transfer ownership of property. To transfer ownership of property. When they had the Civil War, the property that they were fighting over was the so-called Negro. They were fighting over you, who was going to have access and power over the property, among other things. But that was the real rallying call. You have those Negroes, which people laugh at today, that are really in love with the Confederate flag. In Alabama and all those Confederate states, they're just as crazy about the Confederate flag as the Negro in the North is crazy about the American flag. A brother earlier today had posted something about the Confederate flag, talking about how that needs to be totally abolished. But I responded to him saying that the Confederate flag is like a dime or a nickel or any other coin. When you flip it over, on the other side is the American flag. Everything that they did to us down there through the Confederate flag, they did the same thing to us under the American flag, and worse. And it hasn't ceased. So please miss us with that Confederate flag / American flag bullshit. Both of them are enemies to the black man. And the only thing that's going to save you and I is to get out of citizenship and create dual citizenship by taking your sovereign position. Because what Ben Crump and all of them are doing is nothing but wasting our time. They will never get true justice for black people. When I was away several years ago, I wrote Benjamin Crump. And I told him, brother, you are going about this the wrong way. You will never get any justice going through the civil court system. It will never happen. There's a way that you can go through a sovereignty lane and actually sue the judges and the prosecutors and those who offended you personally. You can actually break into you can actually shut down all of their mortgages, everything that they got going on, their credit cards, and you can actually sue their personal estate. But as long as you're dealing with them from a corporate standpoint, coming to them after you have gone through their bar association, which is all part of a clique. That's a clique, man. You're part of the system. You're in the courts. And they call it courts because it's a place where you play. They have tricks. They have all these different obstacle courses and rules of the court that you cannot win at. But when you come from your sovereign perspective, the sovereign is supreme over all law. The sovereign is the law. Because he's standing on a square. He's standing on the earth. He's not drowning in the sea of corporate law. But that's a whole nother subject. But back to what I was saying. Free people. Those of us who want full freedom, justice, and equality and independence. We don't want no government handout. We want our reparations. And we want separate territory for us to dwell on in peace so that we can build among ourselves. We don't want nothing to do with the wicked system and this diabolical system that's going down faster than a plane. No, this right here, this is going down. I don't want nothing to do with all that freakishness and the transgender shit, all that stuff that's destroying us. We got to get the hell away from that. And if this is the opportunity, we need to take it. And I believe that this crazy ass president in the White House will give us our reparations because he's that damn crazy and that damn desperate. And the time is now for us to reap what it is that's owed to us. So on that note, I will get back to you soon. Peace, blessings, prosperity.